Hi, everybody. Meet my buddy Beethoven here. So, today's little talk is Beethoven. Why should we care? What is it about him and what he did that's relevant to what we do now? And I'm going to try to answer that question in the next couple of minutes for you. So, the thing, the most important thing to know about Beethoven is that beyond the music that he left us, that he really defined what it means to be a musical artist, a creative musical artist, in ways that still resonate today. So, before Beethoven's time, musicians were servants, really. They were just part of the household of some rich individual or the church or a royal court or something like that. And they really saw themselves that way, that they were really servants who were doing a job, they were doing what someone else told them to do. And this idea that an artist was independent and creative and in control of his own destiny and had something to say. This was new. This was new before this time. So before you get composers who are writing music in expected styles. They're doing things in the way that other people expected. And Beethoven didn't really follow those rules, not only in the way that he wrote music, so that he broke even the form of some music that for the symphony, for example, that was usually put together in a certain orderly kind of way. Beethoven was like, no, I want to do it my own way. Um, and he was also financially independent. He was one of the first composers to really be financially independent without having to have a full-time job working for a rich individual like a court or a church. So he was negotiating his own deals, getting music published, which is where he made a lot of his money. He did have rich people who supported him, but he didn't work for them full time. So it was all part of that arrangement. Um, he was, I guess, the other thing about his personality is something that we still see, or when we think of an artistic personality, a lot of this came from Beethoven, who was difficult. He was prickly. He was a really crappy tenant. He kept having arguments with his landlords and getting thrown out of his apartments because you know, he was a slob and all this kind of stuff. And so he was difficult in this idea of an artistic temperament, that somebody who's an artist is can be difficult to deal with, but that's where their genius and creativity comes from. We understand that now from, you know, it wasn't Kanye who invented that. It was Beethoven. Okay. And so that's one of the parts of the ways that we think about it. Before Beethoven, too, composers really thought of the music that they were writing as um, disposable. It was for this time. It was like food. We're going to make this for dinner today, and this is what we're going to listen to for the concert. And next week or next year, we'll write something else. This idea that you could write something that would be for eternity, that would be for the future, um, that was going to be saved after you were dead, is something that was not didn't really exist much before Beethoven. Um, Also, this I think is the most important one, that because of things we know about Beethoven, the idea that an artist creates out of personal suffering and pain, and that there's something that when we go through troubles, when we go through hard times, we can come up with and create something that is going to be of meaning and is going to be of value not only to us but other people. And we know that Beethoven did this, especially with this tragedy that happened in his life, which is that he went deaf, right? And this is the most disastrous thing for a musician. And that he saw this coming. He realized it was coming. He was losing his hearing gradually. And he wanted to just make it a statement about that. So, um, uh, so when you listen to the Fifth Symphony and you listen to ba 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 bum, probably the most four important notes in the history of classical music, think about the ways that Beethoven defined what it was to be an artist. Hang in there. Stay safe.